Welcome to the Personal Development Mastery Podcast. I'm Agi Keramidas and my mission is to inspire you to rise up, grow, stand out and take action towards the next level of your life. I interview leaders, influencers, entrepreneurs, authors, exceptional people who can and will inspire you to improve your life. Tune in for 2 episodes each week and make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get the episodes as soon as they are released. In today's show, it is my real pleasure to speak with Vamsi Pannala. Vamsi, you are the founder of Impact Marketing Summit and the host of the Authority Entrepreneurs podcast. You help entrepreneurs rise out of obscurity and stand out in a crowded world. And you are on a mission to help 1,000 entrepreneurs in the next 12 months undergo this transformation that will allow them to reach and impact more lives. Vamsi, welcome. I'm delighted to speak with you today.
Ajay, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's a pleasure and really looking forward to some great conversation.
So am I. Vamsi, I want to start with a little bit of your story so we can get some context. What I was looking at your story was because you have a corporate background in sales and marketing, and at some point you didn't like something there, and you quit and decided to start your own business. And then some very interesting turns and twists after that. So if you would just paint a picture for us so we can get an idea.
Absolutely, Ajay. And I would not say my story is any close to a Christopher Nolan's movie, but it has its own twists and turns that I never expected that I should be going through. But in short, I come from the corporate world, like you just said, and I spent about 13 years there as a sales and marketing specialist. One of the last things that I got into didn't really last long. There was a huge disconnect with the expectations on the ground reality versus what I was expecting it to be. So I called it quits and didn't wanted to jump on another opportunity without spending a good time retrospecting what I should be doing as my next step. So I had two choices, whether I should go for another job, go for entrepreneurship, which was there for almost like 2.5 years in my head at that point. But the opportunities that I had in the corporate world did not let me to go and explore that world because I was happy with what I was doing, the kind of people I was working with. But when the time came, I kind of took the gap that I never had in my entire career, took a 1-month break, kind of went back to the drawing board on what I should be doing. So when I started writing out whether I should go for another role or should get into entrepreneurship, most of my checklist was getting ticked off on the side of entrepreneurship. For reasons I didn't had any mortgages, no loans, no credit cards. My kid was just 1 year old. His schooling had another couple of years down the line. So everything was like the stage was set for me to go and explore the world of entrepreneurship. So I took the plunge, got into it, but didn't really had the start. I mean, I'm not even complaining about the perfect start. Even the kind of start that I wanted, I didn't really get that for simple reason. When I look back 22 months down the lane, I had no mentor, no coach. I didn't even know what my niche was. I didn't even have a clue of who I was trying to serve. I was just trying to look at any opportunity that would give me the start. I would start making money online. And that I believed was entrepreneurship, which was absolute chaos and absolutely wrong in terms of how you approach entrepreneurship as a career that you want to really get into. So I jumped ships every 2 months. I was chasing shiny objects like, a kid would ask for candy every 2 hours, right? So every few weeks, I would just go into one after the other. There was affiliate marketing, there was funnel building, there was marketing consultations, there was direct selling product that I got into as a distributor. Then there was agency. There was like every other thing that I could see on the internet, which throwed up an opportunity. I went and picked up. So in the process, I spent about close to 9,000, more than $9,000 getting into different products, courses, masterminds, whatever you may want to call. So this went on till almost 14 months, till April 2020, when we were all in the midst of the global pandemic. The entire world was on the shutdown. Even during that, I was still chasing the shiny objects. But one fine evening, 26th of April, I had this thought out of blue. I mean, I would not credit myself that this was an Einstein of me who had this thought and things like that. It just came out of my mind out of nowhere. So I thought, and this was the point where I was talking to a lot of people who resembled exactly like me. People who were losing jobs left, right, and center. They had plans of aspirations of becoming an entrepreneur, but they had no one to tell what is right, what is wrong, where to go, who they should serve, what skill set can bring them money to the table and also impact lives that they really want to get into by doing this. So I thought, in this last 14 months of chasing all these shiny objects, one of the good thing that also happened, in fact, if you ask me, what did all those shiny objects do to you, Vamsi? I think there is more good than bad that happened to me, apart from the money that I've spent.
I actually
So
wanted to ask you about this, the courses, because many people, I think I can certainly relate. I'm over, I think, the shiny object syndrome now, but I know that I was tempted, and I think many people are, because they think, and we all think in the beginning, that the road of entrepreneurship is something that will solve our financial problems quickly, and because we'll do a training. So yeah, we jump on from one to another until we find out maybe what we, that's my biggest takeaway, we find out what we enjoy doing the most or we're passionate about. But please tell me, what was your takeaway from all this?
so when I thought of that, so I thought, can I bring some of these 6 7 figure entrepreneurs that I got friended, because I bought their courses, I got into their Facebook groups, I would engage with their Facebook live. So there was that time where I was on their friend list. So for me, it was just a message away to send them and say, hey, you know what, I'm planning to do this virtual summit, a common platform where I can bring entrepreneurs like you, who can come and share value to people like me and a lot of people who are in the market trying to understand how they can withstand a pandemic like this. Can people who are losing jobs learn from someone like you who is still doing the kind of business that you were doing pre-pandemic? I mean, nothing changed in your business. So that was essentially the thought process that I was going through. So I started doing the outreach. I was not expecting a lot of people to come on it, because it was not just the 30 40 minutes of the session time that I was expecting them. I was also expecting them to come prepared. There's some preparation time. They have to move calendars to accommodate my request and all that stuff, right? So I wanted to do it with like 10 15 people. So I sent out my request to 83 people just to increase my probability of getting more
Yeah,
yeses, because
yeah.
I was always expecting no from them. But eventually the opposite of that happened. So of the 83 that I've sent, 35 people, 34, in fact, including me, 35 people actually ended up, coming on that summit. And that was one of the biggest projects that I could ever imagine myself putting myself through. So, and it was a huge success. I had some of the biggest names, in at least in the niche that I represent. I'm not sure if you know about this community called ClickFunnels.
Of course.
So I had people like Steve Larson, Marley Jacks, Gabe Schillinger, Akbar Sheikh, some of the biggest names that community looks up to for the kind of work they do, the kind of business they do, the revenue they generate, and the kind of following they have. So that kind of positioned me as someone who was unknown to a guy who was unstoppable. From those 4 to 5 months of putting together this entire summit, my life just changed for good. Everything. That's basically what's been my story for the last 22 months of what I've been doing.
Tell me a little bit more about the success of the summit? I mean, you say your life changed. I suppose you mean both in terms of the connections and the knowledge, the networking that you personally got from the experts that you called to speak at your summit. I suppose you also mean financially, so I take it was a success in a sense that you were not expecting it to be.
Yeah, it was not just about bringing 34 top experts on my summit. It was also about, as you may know, summit is not just a free lead magnet. It has tickets that you can sell. It has one-time offers that you can sell in the back end. It has the order bumps that brings in the tons of revenue. So from all the aspects of what you can expect a successful virtual summit can do to your business, everything happened for me. So and that now kind of positioned me as someone, because my journey has been followed by a lot of people. I mean, I would not say 10,000, 100,000 people, but good 15 2000 1500 2000 people who I was already getting into my kind of network with whatever I was doing in those 14 months. So people knew the kind of work that I have put in, the effort that I have put in, with all the problems that I was chasing before that. So that way, I think when I look back and see what that one virtual summit has done for my business is incredible. I mean, it's just, I think that the biggest takeaway was that you don't have to really do something. You don't have to move mountains to be successful. If you do one thing right and do it, with your 100%, give your heart and soul in doing it, the world will take a note. I mean, you don't have to take up a project which will take you 3 years, and at that point you believe like, I wasted all this time, and it was not a success. Even with a virtual summit which takes you, based on the how big the summit you want to do, it only takes between 60 to 90 days. I mean, that's it. So but that one product that you are building can bring you tons of people into your email list. It will open opportunities like, becoming a joint venture partner with some of the speakers who are on your summit. They allow opportunities to sign up as a high ticket affiliate for their products. It helps you, sell and make tons of money from the ticket. So there is so much that one virtual summit can do. And all of this aspect that I just talked about happened with that summit for me.
Thank you. Actually, I want to stay in this topic a little bit longer. And obviously, you had sales and marketing expertise. So, in a way, for me, that sounds that it makes it easier for you to facilitate, to organize and facilitate a summit like that. If I were to ask you, so who do you think should consider doing a project like that, organizing a virtual summit? Is there some characteristics, some expertise, or some niche that you need to have in order to do something that is, meaningful and successful?
Agi, you have asked a really brilliant question. So when I got into the world of entrepreneurship, like I said, I had 13 years of sales and marketing experience, but you would be surprised to know that none of that actually helped me. None. I mean, see, marketing in the corporate world is very different versus what you do in the world of entrepreneurship. It's more about direct response, right? I mean, your marketing strategies have to be very concise, very crisp. They have to, immediately, appeal to your customers. It's not like how the corporate world promotes their products. Have beautiful advertisements around, have 100,000 hoardings talking about their products. That kind of things doesn't work here, because you don't come up with that kind of budgets in the first place. So when I got into it, and that's probably the reason why I didn't really got the kind of start that I wanted, because I was trying to implement those marketing strategies in the world of entrepreneurship, and there was no alignment as it is. So for doing a virtual summit that I did, I actually started off with zero marketing skills, literally zero marketing skills, because
Right.
whatever I knew had absolutely no use. I mean, it came to me of no use. So the only thing that I did was that I had myself been a participant in a few summits that I attended, all thanks to the shiny objects again. So what I just did was that I went back, and with my little corporate experience that helped me, I went back and reverse engineered on what they would have done in the back end to do this summit. You have to trust me when I say this. No one told me how to do it. I didn't even opt for a course. I didn't read one article online about how to do virtual summits. It was just purely my own blueprint, my own framework that I came up with. So I was like, okay, if these people are recording it, that means this is probably on Zoom. So I have to record all my things on Zoom. So there is this website where people are talking about their offer. That means I need something where I can have my web pages hosted, which means I need a funnel builder. So this is a copy. So I need someone to write my copy, or I should write my own copy. There are images. That means I need a graphics designer. There are videos. That means I need a video editor. There are tech integrations. So if I can't figure it out myself, I need someone who can do the payment integrations, the email campaign integrations, the Zapier integrations and all. So I was looking precisely at each piece of what goes into the virtual summit, made a list. I still have the task list with me. It's about 232 tasks that I've started writing every single day based on what I was trying to do. And then I would just start executing it. So whether you are a marketer, whether you are not a marketer, whether you are a coach, whether you are a course creator, whether you are a freelancer, a solopreneur, it doesn't matter. If you have a business, if you have your niche very clear to you, and you have a tribe that you want to serve, you may not have one right now, but you know who you want to serve, what your niche is, and you have a business idea that you believe can impact the world in its own little way. If that is what you are, then you can do a virtual summit. Because virtual summit is that one tool on the internet right now which allows you to bring in the biggest influencers in your niche. That way you leverage their experience. And the whole theme about doing virtual summits is you are basically solving one of the biggest problems in your niche. And that is the reason why it is evergreen. I mean, any virtual summit today is done in such a way that it doesn't die out after the launch is done. It is still evergreen because the problem statement that you have taken to launch your virtual summit is something which will work today, which will work 5 years down the line as well. For example, if for the benefit of the audience, there is this summit called 30days.com by ClickFunnels that they did, right? So the topic, the co-founder of that company gave to 30 speakers who participated on that summit was, if you wake up one day morning and you realize that your business is completely wiped off, your authority is wiped off, no one knows you by your first name, how do you go about building your business in the next 30 days? Now, I took that summit 2 years ago. It was absolutely valid now in 2018. It is still valid in 2021. It will be valid in 2028 as well. And that's how a virtual summit team has to be picked up. I mean, it has to be as much as evergreen as possible, and also solving one of the biggest problems in your particular niche. Mm-hmm. So that is basically the premise of how a virtual summit is done. And again, as I said, if you are a business owner, irrespective of the scale of the business that you have, whether you're doing 4 figures, 5 figures, 8 figures, doesn't matter. It's about leveraging the authority of the more influencer people who have in your niche, bring them, pick their brain, pick up a topic which will help a huge audience in your niche. And then, you suddenly start being seen as an authority because you get to hang out with the biggest influencers in your niche. Their authority passes on to you.
It's you're so right about it. I get it. I understand what you mean, and you get all those different points of view from different experts. Did you have any difficulties or challenges, inviting people there to do the summit for you, with you, I mean? Or was it people enjoyed and jumped in the opportunity?
That's what I thought, what is going to be my biggest challenge when I thought about doing a summit, eventually when I looked at what all I did for my virtual summit and what was the easiest thing that happened, it was actually inviting the speakers.
Sure.
Because yeah, there were challenges as such. One of the things that you should always remember is that you are trying to bring in more people who are authority in terms of the level that you are in your business right now. So
Yes.
there will be those challenges of people not showing up. Maybe they would postpone, they would cancel it. There are, so those kind of things did happen in my case multiple times. But when I look back in terms of what were the biggest challenges, my challenges were more in terms of integrating payment gateways to my funnel, getting the right copy written out. Because when I was doing this summit from India, taking international transactions was the biggest hurdle that I had to cross. For anyone who knows how much time it takes for integrating Stripe or PayPal to your funnel, it should hardly take about 10 to 15 minutes. Bring those APIs from your account and put it in the APIs that funnel builder gives you. That's it. It took me 45 days.
Okay.
That is because of different laws here, and
Yeah.
I had to float a company for that. Stripe would not give me a business account on my individual name, so I had to go for a business account. Then that has to go into a corporate account. For that, there is another thing. There is
It's
another
part
thing.
of the fun, isn't it? A part of the fun of being an entrepreneur.
I
All those
enjoyed it,
discoveries, yes.
but Aji, the biggest hurdle was all of this thing was happening right at the middle of the pandemic. Everything was shut down. I had to really figure out ways. It would have been a different thing when the world was open, like what it is right now. Versus everything is, you can't even go in person to something to apply. Everything is online, and people were trying to transition systems from offline to online. So a lot of things were not possible even with the kind of technology we have right now. So yeah, I initially thought getting speakers would be my biggest challenge, but it was actually not. They in fact loved the kind of mission that I was doing this summit for, because these are all heart-centered entrepreneurs that I had on my summit. They knew what I was trying to do, trying to help their bit by coming and sharing the value, what is working for their business, how are they getting tons of organic traffic to their funnels, to their websites, so that way their business is still intact and they are not spending a lot of money on paid ads, which was not a luxury for people even who had some really big numbers for their business, to spend tons of money on Facebook, Google, and all that kind of paid ad strategies. So they really loved the mission, and in fact, I had about 40 people, 41 speakers agree to come on my summit. A few had to drop out for different reasons, but it ended up becoming a 35 people summit. So yeah, they really loved what I was doing and wanted to jump on and contribute their share of the value as well.
Vamsi, let me ask you one more thing about, and I'll actually go a little bit further back to that, because I was reading in your story that you had 5 failed attempts in the beginning of building a business. So, can you share what's the biggest lesson that you've learned after all these failed attempts, one after the other? What did you learn that maybe someone can avoid doing?
I mean, today I'm an advocate of focusing on one thing, just one thing. Don't worry about the result is going to be a success or failure. If it's a success, it will get you the money, the fame, the name, the authority, the brand, whatever you have been looking for. If it's a failure, it is giving you the biggest and the best gift that you can have as an entrepreneur experience. Right? So focus on one thing is one aspect of it. It's like this one coin that I have right now. One side of it is focus. Do one thing. Don't worry about 100 other shiny objects that is chasing you to get their share of your conscious into it. The other side of the coin is be consistent with what you're doing. That one focus needs to be very consistent. I mean, whether it is about showing up on your Facebook lives, if that's what you want to do, if you are if you promise to come up with one YouTube video every single week, it's about one blog post that you want to write for every couple of weeks, it's about two TikTok videos that you want to do for your channel. Whatever you decide, when you decide, be consistent with that. Because as I mentioned, you might feel like, oh, I have uploaded this video and I got only 15 views, but a lot of people who are not engaging with your content are still taking a note of what you're doing. And I only realized this when I did the outreach for my summit. When I started reaching out to people, I said, hey, my name is Vamsi Pannala, I'm a marketer from India. I'm doing this virtual summit called the Impact Marketing Summit, and this is for people who are trying to get some direction in what they are doing right now. Would it be possible for you to come on and spend 30 minutes of your time telling what is working for your business right now, so they can take a thing or two and implement that in their business? This is something that you are interested and open to doing. This is the message that I've sent.
Mm-hmm.
The reply was, hey Vamsi, I know you have been doing these lives for the last 5-6 months. I did watch them. You're doing an excellent job. I love what you're doing. Let me know when is the summit, when am I expected to come? And that message was common across almost 10 to 15 of the 35 people who appeared. I never had an interaction. They were still friends, like a LinkedIn open networker. I was a Facebook open networker.
Yeah.
So I was friends with them, but we never interacted. But when I started sending them the messages, they said, hey, you know what? You're not a stranger. I know you. I saw your lives. I saw your content. I did not engage it with your content. That's a different story. But I know what you have been doing. So that was like a biggest, eye opener for me. People do take note of it. Don't think that if they didn't like or if they didn't comment on your post, it's not that it's not getting its engagement. Some people may decide not to, but they are still taking a note of it.
100%. I agree with you very much. And consistency and keep on doing it regardless of the results or the lack of apparent results that you might have at that time is very important. And I think that message, everyone that works or wants to do a business, they have to really tattoo that or something like that. Keep going, because we have to. Vamsi, I want to also ask you some quick fire questions to start wrapping things up. So the first one I want to ask you is, what does personal development mean to you?
I mean, personal development is everything to me, right? So, who would come and give you an education? It's you who it has to start with, right? I mean, there's no one would come and tell you, hey, you have to go through some personal development to become a better human. It's you who has to realize the fact that if I am not investing on my own self, there is no one who is going to help me do that. So, and that's probably one of the biggest things that really helped me become what I am today in my business. I read a lot of books, whether it is to do with self-help, personal development, the niche that I represent, marketing. All of this kind of rewires the thought process. It changes the way you see the world. So I think personal development is a huge factor in. I think anyone who is successful today, if you ask them what is the one of the top three factors, personal development should be among one of them for sure.
And let's say you could go back in time and meet your 18-year-old self. What advice would you give him?
Same thing. I mean, focus on one thing, exactly know who you are trying to serve, what is the niche that you want to be in, and just go all in. If I would have done the same thing 18 years ago when I was 18, maybe I would have had a 7-figure, 8-figure business by now.
That's how life is, isn't it? We learn
Absolutely.
by what we do and what we don't do, and then we
Absolutely.
reflect back on it.
And more than the 7-8 figure business, maybe now my mission has been about helping 1,000 entrepreneurs transition from that expert to authority, and help them come out of that zone of hustling. Even if they are an entrepreneur, they are still doing that 9 to 5. Not many people would admit that.
More
They
than 9 to 5, actually.
actually, right? So they are still doing that hustle. They can't go back from go from their business for like couple of weeks and come back to and expect it to be in the same position as it was. So I would have, if I would have doing the same thing from my 18s, maybe I would have at least served more than 10,000 entrepreneurs by now, and that would have been a huge contribution to the world from my end, you know. So but yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it's late. The last the good time to plant a tree in Chinese proverb was like 200 years ago. The next good time was yesterday, right? Or even today. So there's no right or wrong time. You start it, but you
Yeah.
take it consistently from there is the most important thing.
Tell me one more thing. If you could wave a magic wand and change something in the world as it is today, what would you change?
Limiting beliefs. I mean, I have seen, in fact, I personally has gone through that when things were not really working out the way I expected it to be. I had a lot of limiting belief issue, and very similar trait to limiting belief is the imposter syndrome, right? I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm made to do this. I don't know if people will listen if I put up a course. I don't know if people will come if I do the summit. The guy is living in that I don't know, right? I mean, you would only know if you go put in that work and see what the world is opening it up to, you know. So it's important that you give it an action. Like I said, go and do that dream project that you have. There will be only two outcomes. One outcome is it's a super success. It will give you everything that you have imagined, everything that you dreamed of. If it is not, the only thing it will give you is the best experience of doing what you have done. So you can tweak it, make it better if you believe it. This couple of things would have made it a different thing. That is experience. You would not get all of that without even trying it. So everyone should go and do what they have been, dreaming about doing, for that matter.
Actually, that's in a way you answer my next question, but feel free to give something else if you feel like it is necessary. I would about to ask you, give to the listener, emerging from all this conversation we had, one actionable item, something they can do straight away or tomorrow morning and, shift their life a little bit or more.
Oh, one of the things that I urge people, if in fact, if I can say, I plead people to do is go out and start publishing. Doesn't matter if it is a YouTube channel, doesn't matter if it's a podcast like this, doesn't matter if it's TikTok, doesn't matter if it's a blog post, doesn't matter if it's Facebook lives, but show up every single day. I mean, if you're an introvert, do a podcast or write a blog, I mean, which is specific to your own industry. If you can be a monkey in the front of a camera, go and do TikTok. I mean, you could go and do a YouTube channel. You could do your Facebook lives. I mean, when I say monkey, it's not literally a monkey, but people expect you to be a very different person on video versus a very different person on a blog post, right? I mean, there are two different sides of it. So it's all about the kind of personality you are. If you are an extrovert, think of coming up on camera, start talking to it, make it your best friend. It will take you to a different level. If camera is not something that you are very friendly with, make a WordPress blog. It doesn't cost you too much, maybe about $50-$60 to start a WordPress site. Go express yourself, write whatever you want to. And like I said, the world will take a note. Don't worry about it. Be consistent. Do what you are really good with. Don't have that limiting belief. Don't worry about the imposter syndrome. There are people who still wants to consume from you the content that you are putting out, because maybe your choice of words, the way you express it, the way you communicate is probably better than the content which is already there in the similar lines which has put up by someone else. So it's all about how you go about publishing, showing up. Pick a medium. At some point, you can repurpose the content. For example, this video can go into YouTube, the audio can go into podcast, it can be transcribed into a blog post. You could do 100 things with this one video that we are recording, right? But if you don't have the bandwidth to do it, don't worry about it. You don't have to stress yourself. But take one platform, go publish consistently every single day, and you will have a different world for your own self, and your business will be at a different pedestal.
It's fantastic. Thank you. And Vamsi, how can people connect with you and find out more?
I'm Vamsi Pannala everywhere. My Facebook profile is Vamsi K Pannala. My Facebook page is Vamsi Pannala page. I have a group called Authority Entrepreneurs, which is my brand right now. So that's where all the magic happens. So people can come and join that Facebook group. And my Insta handle is again Vamsi Pannala. My Twitter handle is Vamsi Pannala. As like mentioned, Vamsi Pannala everywhere. Even the LinkedIn handle is Vamsi Pannala as well. The new bad boy on the market, Clubhouse. That's the same handle on Clubhouse as well. So you could go and follow me everywhere where you feel like you want to consume my content. But my content goes on all these platforms. So yeah.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you very much for this conversation, and there was some, I believe, invaluable, apart from information for sure, but I think there was some items of value for the listeners. So thank you very much for that, and all the very best with your mission to empower the entrepreneurs. Any last parting words?
No, I mean, doesn't matter what you're doing, where you're in your life right now. Just be consistent with what you're doing. The success will come. So don't quit. Entrepreneurship is a hardship. That's what you have signed up for. But it's the only way to be successful in this world is to show up consistently and just be there for your tribe, and they will take you to the level, to the next milestone in your business, wherever you want to go.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and rate Personal Development Mastery on Apple Podcasts, and also share this episode with someone who you think will benefit from it. If you want to become part of an exclusive community, gain access to unique content, and at the same time support this podcast, then become my patron. The link is in the show notes, or you can type bit.ly/pdmpat. If you want to know more about what I do and how I can help you, join my Facebook group Personal Development Mastery. Again, the link is in the show notes, or you can simply type bit.ly/pdmgroup. And until next time, stand out, don't fit in.